Because if that is
that's a very interesting perspective.
you can't cry for everybody. Yeah, so you can say God for us all and everybody, or himself.
Himself. This is true. You can't cry for everybody.
Yes.
But perhaps you can cry for devolution.
Yes.
And these are some of the things that we are looking at.
Yes.
I want to read a little bit from an article that's published in Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard, this morning.
Yes.
And the headline is that Ruto, a threat to devolution, warned governors amid tiff on roads fund. The first line is of interest. Governors have accused President William Ruto of being a threat to devolution following his remarks that the national government is best positioned to manage the road maintenance levy fund. The governors wanted the president to allow county governments manage the levy funds, maintaining that the national government had failed to discharge its functions. The president Sunday in Narok pleaded with governors to allow him manage the funds, according to arguing that he would be more efficient and lead to improved infrastructure and enhanced connectivity across the country. This is one such example of many times where folks have said that devolution as a process is being throttled and not being allowed to operate as would have been envisioned by the Constitution. Senators, in their responsibility, then have a responsibility to oversight county governments in terms of how they spend money as one of the duties, of course. Now, when we look at devolution and its opportunity to actually live out its role in the country, do you think it's doing so as we look at this as an example?
No, it's not all gloomy. First, I want to say the statement, because I seen the statement by Professor Nyong'o is very unfortunate, because he's personalizing issues of devolution. When you talk about he's accusing the president of being a threat, it is neither here nor there. We know the people who are a threat to devolution are members of National Assembly, because they have sabotaged the passage of the bill for almost 2 times, even yesterday. And the president does not vote in parliament. In fact, the president just gave his own opinion since there is a stalemate on road maintenance levy fund. But the position of the Senate has been very clear that road maintenance levy fund should be given to counties. So even if governors have a problem, and City, you are aware of this, and all of us here, is that there is the summit. There is the IBEC. So if the governors wanted to contest the position of the president, there is a better avenue of addressing through IBEC, where the deputy president chairs, or even the summit of the devolution where they can address. So I found it curious that the governor, my neighbor, Kisumu County is, we neighbor with City, is a stone throw away. He did very well. He could have argued without unnecessarily attacking the president or dragging the president into unnecessary drama.
You went a little bit further, didn't you, though, Senator? You went ahead and you said that...
that is where I'm going to.
Okay, and I want to ask
so in fact, if they accuse the biggest and the second threat to devolution is governors themselves,
after the members of parliament,
after the members of parliament, because they have never accounted for through development and transparency to many billions and trillions that we send to counties.
Correct.
There are many examples that they have never done, and they have gone to bed with EACC. Even the allegations that they are also lining the pockets of some of the senior judicial officers to ensure the prosecution of some of these economic crime cases are stalled. So in fact, before they speak, he should have looked himself at the mirror before accusing the president of being a threat to devolution. And that is why there are many examples. You saw the governor of in the financial year of 2023-2024, the governor of Trans Nzoia Natembe allocated 5.1 million to buying of coffins. My own governor allocated for the 2 million to doing car hire services and giving 13 million for legal services that is non-existent. So there are many problems that face devolution, as opposed to saying the president is a threat to devolution. Members of National Assembly, in fact, for the first time, I've agreed with Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister, when he says members of Parliament, under Article 93, it means the Senate and the National Assembly should only restrict themselves to the devolved function. And I want to discourage my brother Atienda Amolo, who is a very respectable legal scholar and one of the few people who drafted this constitution. I see him is proposing a bill that wants to mutilate the constitution of entrenching CDF oversight funds. Those are necessary things. You either choose, if you want to manage those funds, just run for governor or run for president. Then you manage those funds. Why is he a senior scholar trying to mutilate the same constitution? Yet we should be protected. So you cannot have your cake and eat it. We cannot be doing oversight, then be the one implementing these programs. And therefore, that public participation bill that I saw in some of the national newspapers, including the Standard, Kenyans should reject in total because it is not being done in good faith. And therefore, the future of devolution, the only challenge, and I've agreed, and you remember the president said that we must unbundle all the functions to the counties as per the fourth schedule.
Yeah.
If we can ensure that all devolved functions are taken, but the only challenge is financing those devolved functions. And we have had this push and back where John Badi, and you remember even members of National Assembly are unfair. You remember, Ndu, that when the issue of delay in disbursement of CDF last week, the members of parliament forced and fragmented the CS of Treasury, CS Badi.
In fact, they said they will lock him in parliament and he will not have a chance
address,
to leave. Yes.
But they didn't add to him that you must also send money to counties. So counties, by the last disbursement they had was in February. They are being owed almost 90 billion in terms of both disbursements that should go to counties.
Allow me to ask you this, Senator, because the question then is, in terms of oversight, Senator has a significant role to play here.
Yes.
We have seen the committee with yourself, Senator Sifuna, Senator Kajwang, Senator Okiam Tata, make Thangwa, make inquiry, or ask questions about how this money is spent. But it seems to stop there. After the answers are given, what happens? When governors are brought to question about 4 million shillings for breakfast, or money that has gone towards we don't even know what, it seems to be a question. It stays in the headlines for a couple of days, but then we never really know what happens after that. CDF is a big thing here, and we're asking, how is this CDF actually spent? Who controls it? What happens after the question is asked? Senate makes recommendations, but are those recommendations actually picked up and followed up?
Correct. In fact, that's where I'm coming. Whenever I go into Nandi, for example, I've been there up to yesterday, and the question people will ask you, this money that you send in Nairobi, where is it? What are you doing as a Senate? We are incapacitated to some level because many people imagine that senators should arrest and prosecute.
Yes.
Yet they don't know that is the work of DCI, EACC, and DPP. And you, at least Kenyans, can learn to do this program that the father at Parliament, both National Assembly and the Senate. You see, yesterday, National Assembly formed a committee to investigate the issue of illegal organ harvesting in the country. The fact they will go is to recommend. And that is the design of our constitution. I can tell you, Ndu, and when you get time, you should see it is even in answer the recommendations, and my brother here, the recommendations that we normally make to EACC, to DCI, to DPP.
Give me one recommendation.
For example, in Nandi, let me use Nandi. In the year 2019-2020, we found that there was what we call ECD cement scandal. And there was a lot of the buying of cement under Governor Sang and many others. We recommended for investigation and prosecution. Up to today, EACC and DCI have done nothing about it. So the far we can go is recommend, and we normally table those reports. You remember we were pitting the deadline of March, as was ruled by the courts, that we ensure that we comply. If you look at all those reports of financial year 2023, 2024, 2021, 2020, all them, we normally make recommendations that we always direct EACC to do investigation and possible prosecution. We even go ahead and even tell NCIC whenever we notice that counties are becoming bastions of tribalism. We recommend even NCIC to investigate and possible prosecution. So I wish I'm not wishing, but I think it is the wisdom of designers of the constitution. Unless Kenyans will go to the referendum and say today Parliament can arrest and prosecute people who violate the constitution or misappropriate funds.
Sorry, and the same Senate, interestingly enough,
Yes.
just 2 weeks ago, has brought forward a bill which is asking that the powers of the Auditor General then be increased beyond giving it back to Parliament by saying that the office rather, should now have powers to recommend on her own instead of throwing it. So the question is, you continue to recommend year on year, recommend. Why is there no push to then see that it goes beyond just recommendation? Because nothing is being done.
No, under article, I don't know, according to recollection of my memory, I think it was the National Assembly who wanted to clip the powers of OAG, if my memory serves me right. But I believe in Article 229, where the powers of the Auditor General should never and must never be diluted. The only problem I have, because I've sat for almost 7 years in Public Accounts Committee in the Senate, and also I've been a Vice Chair of County Public Accounts, up to the other day when the broad base came in, is
we hear you. We got
so the only challenge under Article 229. The only problem I have with the Office of the Director General reports, you remember we contested Busia, is when they just do lawfulness and effectiveness of use of resources and maybe give us financial statements without giving us the projects. And that is why even as a committee, one of the recommendations, and Kenyan should thank us for this, is progressive, is we have recommended that they should give us the status of projects on the public, because we were asking them, when you appear before Public Accounts, either in National Assembly and the Senate, you tell us about the compliance, the lawfulness, the effectiveness, the financial statements, but at the end of their own report. And that is why we have had a discussion, and I'm happy Nancy Gatungu, she has been very open in terms of engaging us as a committee and even as Parliament. We have agreed that whenever they go to do audit, they must audit projects. They must audit that kettle dip. They must audit that ECD. They must audit that any project that is done by county, so that when we come and discuss, by the way, whenever a project delays, we lose value for money.
Sure.
So if we say this project of constructing a cattle dip in my local village in Kapkeben, for example, should be done within 3 months, it should be. Because the moment you delay, the inflation will kick in terms of prices of materials you will use. You will have to go again to the budget and budget again afresh. So the danger is that I will be against any intention of clipping the powers of OAG, because there is a reason as to why the Constitution says OAG must audit all public funds, so that we have in fact, if you have noticed, National Assembly, and it is good that we are doing PPS, budget policy statements at the moment before the new budget of 2025-2026. They did not give enough resources to OAG. In fact, most of the OAG, when they have appeared as, they complain that they don't have enough resources to go and visit those projects and audits. So what they try to do is they normally die and do it at the county headquarters, get a few projects, just do sampling, because National Assembly has deliberately denied OAG enough resources to do audit, and you and me know the reason. It is obvious, because most of these state agencies and state departments and counties would not want an efficient OAG. They would want a wobbling OAG, so that they cannot be held accountable in terms of the resources. And that is why even they are going for COB, control our budget again, because we are having this challenge of voided payments, where you take your money to pay and do, but end up paying CT. And that is what we call voided payments. Because when I ask Madam Nyagango, why a county is making requisitions, CCM Finance goes, for example, says 100 million to pay CT. When the money comes out, they pay into. So the COP is telling us, after they release, they make requisitions to the controller, to the CRF account at the central bank. They no longer have the view. But now people are blaming COB, yet we have never made a legislative intervention. In fact, I'm happy because Madam Margaret Nyagango has been very supportive to Senate, to ensure that she has a view, so that when CCM Finance of Nairobi makes a requisition of maybe 500 million, the COP can say that money will go to Ndu. But now governors are very smart. They go and take